Hello and welcome to What We're Watching. It's Katherine.
And Liz.
And Ed. And John.
So we're back from sort of a hiatus. We took a little break because the strike was happening and we
it was a gray area where I think because they were basically, the unions were saying don't even promote movies and TV and, so it's like, oh, that's all we're doing because we're talking about basically TV and movies that we like.
Right. And obviously that was for writers and actors who were actively,
picketing.
Right. And not promoting the stuff that they're in. But it also felt like it's not a good idea to be promoting struck companies or struck companies.
But
or
we
like
missed so many good movies and television. So we're back.
Yeah,
we're back.
We were watching the whole time.
Yes.
And we're going to skip over a lot of the stuff that we were watching during that.
We can't go back. We're not going to do Barbie, Oppenheimer. We're not going to do any of that.
There's a sequel or another season, you'll find out that we were watching it way back.
Right.
True, yes.
Right. I think that's a good way to handle it.
Exactly.
So we're going to start off with some fresh stuff. So I recently watched Saltburn. Oh,
I did too.
controversial.
Did anybody else watch it?
You watched it and I watched it. You two boys? Not
Nope.
yet?
Nope.
Okay.
On the agenda, I'm assuming? Maybe? Not
Based
Probably.
on our review.
Yeah. Oh, based on what we
Is
say.
it a sequel to Peppermint?
Well, it does feel like it's a sequel to or an homage to is The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Talented Mr. Ripley, and I would also say Brideshead Revisited.
And I would also say Single White Female.
Ooh, okay.
So that just covered the entire spectrum of viewers,
Yes.
from 70-year-olds to 20-year-olds. We got it covered
Yes.
with
Well,
those.
I mean, Brideshead Revisited, which was my,
A PBS show, which you probably can go back and find. I think we probably have a VHS somewhere in the house.
because we
currently.
watched it when we were kids, very inappropriately.
Inappropriate
Yeah.
for under the age of 15, 16 maybe? Yeah, okay.
But Dad, his whole thing was if it's on PBS, then it's quality
if it
television.
stars Jeremy Irons, then
you
that
can watch it,
alone,
yeah.
it's quality television. Yeah.
So when I first saw the trailer for Saltburn, I was thinking already, Talented Mr. Ripley.
Okay.
I didn't have quite the Brideshead Revisited. I thought maybe more like Great Gatsby. I wasn't sure what was going on.
Right.
So, but I did dive in, and I had already heard some of the more controversial scenes that people were all
Disturbed by?
in a flutter about.
You almost do need to warn if you're going to say, oh, you should watch Saltburn. I would not recommend it to our mother, to our
no.
sister. There are certain girlfriends. I'm on a thread of people that recommend TV and movies in my girlfriends. And our girlfriend Lainey was the first one that recommended Saltburn. And then she did kind of put an asterisk, just be warned, some of these scenes can disturb you or cause you to maybe have a little weak stomach.
Might have a high reaction for some people.
Yes.
I think because I had been pre-warned, I was not particularly shocked. I mean, I thought they were going to be more than they ended up being, which, they were still pretty risque.
Well, let's get a little bit into it, why we feel like The Talented Mr. Ripley and Brideshead Revisited and even Single White Female.
Okay, well, I don't want to give any spoilers. So is there any way, I think story-wise, you can say that Brideshead Revisited, because it is two students from Oxford, which ironically is actually Brideshead Revisited, or maybe this isn't ironic, maybe this is.
I felt there had to be moments that, because this is an original screenplay, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we should say, it is written and directed by Emerald Fennell, who won an Oscar for her screenplay for Promising Young Woman, I think 2 years ago, right?
And that's why there's a little, cameo with Carey Mulligan.
Oh, it's an amazing...
Who was the lead in that movie.
Yeah, she was the lead in that movie, and she is great in this. It's a small-ish part, but it's real good.
Yes.
So... yeah, this is an amazingly talented woman because she both wrote and directed Promising Young Woman. So, I mean, she's really astonishing.
I mean, there's elements of it that it's about an outcast and how do you fit in? And then we've laid the groundwork. There's obviously some psychological terror to it as well.
Yes, it would be considered like a psychological terror.
What is jealousy?
drama.
What is envy? What is coveting someone else's what they have? So that is
Very
the
talented Mr. Ripley,
overall,
yeah.
right? And how do you manipulate maybe to get that? And I would even say there's elements of very Greek mythology in there, and then there are symbolism in.
Oh, sure.
Right. So very talented writer.
Very.
The actors, we've got to give.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's start with it's two students from Oxford and the
First years,
and it's set in 2006, I think. I
think so.
Which is an interesting spot. Musically, there's a lot of, stuff in there for that era. Okay, so the main two students are played by Barry Keoghan, who most people became aware of him, even though he's done other stuff. The Banshees of Inisherin.
He got nominated for an Oscar for that.
In 2022, that was like a big breakout awareness for a lot of people. And then Jacob Elordi is the second student, and he is
very well known from Euphoria.
From Euphoria.
And in the movie Priscilla is out right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Elvis and Me.
Even before that, the Kissing Booth thing.
Which he does not like to talk about.
Oh,
Katherine.
well, I think it's not
that
like
is a youth choice.
Yeah, it's not a
fine.
prestige project like he's doing
exactly.
now.
You can't also, we'll talk about, those are the two main, and we'll talk about some supporting after.
Right, and then we'll just discuss the setup. So it's these two students, and Jacob Elordi's character is really charismatic, handsome.
Popular.
Yeah. And then Barry Keogh's character wants to be friends with him. And it's, again, what you were talking about, to what extent he goes to make that friendship happen.
Yeah.
And then he gets
diabolical.
Yeah, and then he gets himself invited to, it turns out Jacob Elordi's character is an aristocrat and basically has a castle. His family has a castle
called Saltburn.
Yeah. And so they go there for the summer. And then
the whole summer. Could you imagine? You barely know this person and you're like, don't come for a week, don't come for 2 weeks, come for the whole summer and see how it shakes out. I mean, that is, I don't even think I, as the guest, would want to commit myself to that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would be like, but they had become, leading up to it, close.
Yes.
And he had alluded that going home was not necessarily an option. So Felix, played by Jacob Elordi, is actually a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's making a very generous offer.
Right. So you root for him and you like him, and you're rooting for Barry, and you're like, but this is all going to go bad.
Were you rooting for Barry? I don't know.
It's all going to go bad.
Well, it does go very bad, which is fun to
right
watch.
away. I got to say, when he arrives at Saltburn, and right away, Paul Ray's, I think is the name of the butler.
Oh, the butler? Oh, yeah.
I mean, right away, he had his number. But the family, basic Carey Mulligan's character showed us how the family will take in eccentrics and personalities and put up with sort of shenanigans for both entertainment and because they're up in this country house. I don't want to say semi-bored, but the only way you entertain yourself is by bringing people in and mixing them in and see what happens.
Court jesters, if you would.
Oh, kind of.
Oh, she for sure, the way she dressed and homage to it. And because Rosamund Pike, the mother, Lisbeth.
Yeah, it's got a P in it. Lisbeth, I think.
It just reminded me of Terms of Endearment.
Elsbeth.
Lisbeth. What? Forget it. Like, it just like only Rosamund Pike, but Rosamund Pike.
Ooh, she's so good in this.
So kind of cold but motherly, like does such a weird balance of also detachment.
I mean, look, Rosamund Pike, if most people would know her from Gone Girl, and I recently just thought she was amazing in I Care a Lot, which
was terrifying I think it was Netflix. It was
so good though. She was amazing, but she really does have a great, dark quality that she can bring to stuff. So
steely cold.
Yeah, steely cold. But in this one, a little bit more of like a motherly, but super gossipy and just,
very aristocrat, very removed from what would be the norms of society. Yeah. And that's led by Richard E. Grant as Sir James.
Oh,
he's the royalty, the dad.
Yeah, he's amazing. Well, first of all, he's always amazing, and I love him. So it was great to see him. It had a roller coaster quality to it.
Yes.
Of a lot of ups and then some real downs in terms of what his character was showing us.
Roller coaster, not upstairs, downstairs?
No, not quite.
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing is there's really the four main family members. There's Felix and his sister Vanita, and Rosamund Pike's character and Richard E. Grant as the parents. Everybody else is basically trying to jockey and position to be included in the family, to be accepted, and that's Carey Mulligan. That's Barry's character, which is Oliver Quick.
And then there's another friend from school who's actually
Farley.
a friend of the family who is
There's an
another
interesting
complication.
backstory. Yeah. Yes.
Who was very good. He was also in Midsummer. Midsommar. John, how do you say it? Midsommar. And that's Archie McDequy, I believe, is how you say that. And
He was
really
a
good.
jerk.
Oh, he
Oh
was
my
such a jerk.
gosh.
Like, from the beginning, because he also was he was like, as a character, very judgy of our Oliver Quick character.
Yeah.
He was like, had no time for him, thought
We
he was
should
a
have
poser
listened.
and a jerk and like not into him at all, and not swayed at all like Felix's character was very much taken in.
Right. And I mean, we can't give away
Don't
what
say
Oliver
anything.
does, but because if you haven't seen it, and it's you
very
can
dark.
watch it
Yeah.
right now on Prime Video.
Right.
So I just don't want to spoil it for anybody because it's pretty accessible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But it really is very quirky. There are some disturbing
quirky
scenes.
fun. Yeah,
No,
I
not
wouldn't-
quirky. Quirky,
no.
challenging. Quirky, disturbing.
Yeah.
The acting is fantastic. Barry is great.
He's really good. I
He
mean,
lays it all out. He bears himself.
He bears himself.
Yeah.
I do have one without any spoilers. I just want to say the last scene is in Saltburn, the castle. I'm just wondering, where was the staff? Where did they go?
I think
We don't. Okay. Don't. We can't even say.
boys,
Never
plug
mind.
your ears.
Never,
Plug your no. Can I say it? My theory.
Okay. Say your theory.
I think sometimes you have to completely restart.
I think that
I
might be
remember
what
I
happened.
mentioned the butler from minute
Gotta
one.
get rid of.
Looking at him side eye. You're not going to have that person there all the time. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anymore.
Yeah,
I felt like
mean,
that.
You could maybe
skated
figure out
it.
what we mean from that.
I
but
think
don't,
it skated
don't,
it.
don't. If you don't already know, don't think about it too much. Okay, moving on. Moving on.
Yes.
Yeah. Although, also be aware, don't watch it with a family member if you're not going to be comfortable with some full frontal nudity.
There is a great. It's probably TikTok or Instagram reel. Chloe, the one that does all the imitations on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, sure.
Okay, she watched it for a second time and taped her on like Christmas Eve or something, or New Year's Eve, and
Recorded her family watching
Yes.
it? Oh, my God.
And I mean, I sent it to a couple people that had seen the movie because I thought this is.
Ooh, yeah.
I will say I had heard enough to say this is something we're going to watch when our 15-year-old son is out of the house. There was a scene. My husband paused, looked at me, and goes, "We couldn't have watched this with Ethan home." I go, "I know. That's why I said we can't." It's just so alarming, some of the scenes. But Chloe, gosh, what's her full name? John, do you know her full name?
Feynman.
Thank you. She's so funny and just no, like no,
Oh my
just
gosh.
so this is so disturbing. Like the mom could not take it. Like had
Love
a blanket
it.
over her head. So fair warning.
Yeah.
Saltburn on Prime.
Correct.
Yes.
I did watch it alone, which Eric would have been fine with it. Probably Sarah too, but nobody would watch it with me. So I don't
right.
know. I just was like, I can't wait. I can't wait for you people. I'm
Yes.
watching this. So that is Saltburn on Prime Video, and you've been warned. It's racy. Okay. All right. I wanted to jump in also on Fargo.
I watched it too.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Okay,
so
that's why I'm wearing this sweater. Coen Brothers. Now, homage to the dude.
Look, unfortunately, wearing this sweater with this season of Fargo is a negative.
Why do you say that?
Who wears those types of sweaters in this season?
Nobody, but I'm just connecting it to the Big Lebowski, Coen Brothers, their EPs on Fargo. I am doing the connect the dots, John. I'm not basically saying this has anything to do with this season.
no, we'd have to wear cowboy hats and like lambskin
And this
coats.
didn't have anything to do with the original Fargo movie. I'm just saying Coen Brothers.
Yeah.
And I was going to review it, and I thought, well, what better time to wear the dude's sweater?
The
you know?
dude's
Yeah.
sweater.
It is
Yeah.
really thick. And I mean, I don't know how the dude, he had broken this thing down so much. Like, I think it's a Pendleton, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a Pendleton sweater, which are really made for like
cold weather.
cold. I mean, I am kind of sweating right now.
Which would be good in Fargo because it is very cold.
I mean, but
like every
he-
season is like the cold time of year.
And I was at the grocery store yesterday. I saw some dude wearing this. And I was like,
Really?
hello.
Oh.
Because those of us that ordered it, we're thinking it's the broken down version that the dude wears, which is much more like, he's worn it for 20 years.
right.
I'm only a few years in, so this is still stiff wool.
You got a lot of work to do.
I got Okay, so Fargo, the TV.
Fargo. Yes, Fargo, the TV series. It's in season 5.
Yes.
It's a season-long anthology.
Black comedy, really.
Right. So every season, it's a new story, it's a new cast, it's a new
Created by
thing.
Noah Hawley.
Right.
But Coen Brothers are EPs on it, like I said.
Yes, because it's inspired by the original movie.
Right.
Which the first season was much more like the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and then subsequent seasons have been based on true crimes, which it is crazy watching
How?
these. You're like,
How?
I don't know.
How?
How much embellishment?
And
Because
they say they changed some of the
Which-
names.
that seems impossible.
What, John?
That's the whole thing about that title sequence where it's like, this is a true story. And then they get rid of this true. And it's like, this is a story.
What?
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, but whatever. Who knows? Because then before that, it's,
we haven't changed anything.
well, for honoring the dead, we changed nothing. And you're like, except you did? I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so this season is John Hamm playing a real jerk.
Oh my
God, he is so terrifyingly horrible.
Abusive,
I just,
power hungry.
it's quite awful. He's really good.
And not set in the 50s.
No.
No.
Okay.
Set is it now? I think it's now.
They said the season is set in both Minnesota and North Dakota in
2019.
Yeah, current.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, he's alarming. So it's John Hamm,
Sheriff Roy.
Sheriff Roy, just really being awful, and then Juno Temple, who most people know from Ted Lasso.
This is a bit of a departure.
Real departure.
Yeah.
She's a very serious character.
She's
Gone
great.
through some real stuff, and she's good. She's really good in it. She's also kind of kick-assy, which is amazing.
Which
'cause
I'm
she's like tiny.
I thought she was a tiger.
Yes.
She is a tiger.
We learned a lot of backstory during that. I'm like, when did you become like such a badass?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the year she was away, without giving anything away,
okay.
I think she prepared for.
I don't know. I mean,
No?
John Hamm seems to say that, all was not roses when they were together.
Oh.
So I think she was not that nice to him. I mean, because she shouldn't have been because she was being abused.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
obviously. Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't catch all of that.
So it's really her primary story.
Yes, we're
Right.
following her story, and John Hamm is essentially her ex-husband who is trying to get her back.
The
Now-
ex is a debate in his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though he has a new wife. But unfortunately, we haven't seen these last 2 episodes because they have not come out yet.
Correct.
So-
Because Hulu and FX, where you can watch both of them, they are that water cooler, old school television, non-streaming, non-binging.
Yeah, slow
So-
rollout.
So in some ways, it's great because even last night, my husband and I are like, is there a new Fargo? Is there a new Fargo?
It is exciting. Yeah.
What happens? Because every episode, something happens. You're like, what? And I still, now, dropping of the true, I will go, how can this have happened? Is it what? There's no way. Or how would the writers know this? Or who did they interview? How did they find out?
Yeah.
Now I know there might be a little
Embellishment?
Yeah, some, they
little
took a little
creative
liberty.
license?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I will say some of the other characters, Joe Carey from Stranger Things, I will tell you at first, who plays Sheriff Roy's son.
I love that he has slicked back hair in this because he's so famous for having big floppy
I
hair.
will tell you, at first I was like, who is that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, how funny.
So I
Yeah.
think he's doing a fantastic job in it.
Most people know him as Steve in Stranger Things, and he's got the big hair. And this is,
I think his hair might
really,
be buzzed. The hair is not.
Is it?
Where in Stranger Things, it's almost like a whole thing of itself.
Yeah.
I think it's partially buzzed on the side, including some stripes.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
And
But
he's
it's like a real different look and a real jerk.
Well, because he's trying to live up to his father, Sheriff Roy's expectations, and it's not going well.
No, I mean, it is. I
not
do
going-
love a bad Dumblebum character, which is a very Coen Brothers thing.
I have decided one of my other favorite categories of comedy is like, physical, where someone gets hurt comedy.
no.
So, and it's usually by accident. I'm not trying to say like I want someone to get hurt. I'm saying like by accident, they fall, they stumble, they hit something. That can make me, I don't want to bring up, as a children, someone slipped during a recital and I could not contain myself.
no.
So, I do like some by accident. And he is just, there's an element of him physically that just a lot is going on and it's wrong
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah. Well,
I love
actually, the way he's physically moving is very interesting. He's very like fast and sort of intense,
he is
but
trying.
also off a little bit.
Yeah, he's trying.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Jennifer Jason
I don't know. That's not a
Leigh.
good accent. I have to. I don't know what accent she's doing.
Yeah, she is.
It's rich, is what she's doing.
Yes.
I'm rich.
She plays the mother-in-law of Juno Temple's character, and she's kind of alarming.
Lorena Lion. Yes.
Yeah.
They own a bank.
A bank? No, I think it's a like
debt
a
collection, and then there was a moment where they almost owned a bank.
Yeah, I think they
right.
wanted to own a bank to get on both sides of the money, giving the money and collecting the money.
So good.
Yeah, so she's really intense in this.
And her right-hand man, Dave Foley.
Oh, I know.
Now-
with what is the eye patch?
I don't
Do we
know.
ever get an explanation of the eye patch?
No. So we don't know if that's a character choice or that was really based on somebody.
Well, it's based, everything is true. So the original character must have an eye patch for some
He's her
unexplained
lawyer,
reason.
but he sticks his nose in probably too far.
Yeah, well, he's just trying to do his job.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There's also all of these other great supporting characters. Lamore Morris.
Yeah. I mean, he is I guess, a sheriff or I don't know.
But in another town, so he doesn't have jurisdiction.
Right.
A lot of times.
I mean, that is a through line in the Fargo world is really great police characters.
Opposite FBI, opposite sheriff.
Yeah,
I mean,
the two FBI agents are very fun.
Yes. So I would highly recommend it because right out of the gate, it just is a nonstop. It just.
Yeah.
The only Dot, played by Juno Temple, who formerly known as Nadine, just wants to get back to her simple life with her daughter.
And her lovely husband.
Yes, a poor guy, who really didn't know who his wife was.
No.
So she just wants to get back to that and just thinks, she's going to be able to pull that off. And we'll see. She might be able to.
Yeah. I do want to call out Rashida Morjani. She was in Never Have I Ever, which was a Netflix show that I really enjoyed.
Oh, she's great as, yes.
She's another police character.
Her husband.
Her husband is the worst.
No.
Yeah, which is very fun.
But he's actually a fun actor as well. So.
And then we get one other super creepy thing going on.
I mean,
with
what?
is he an assassin for hire or whatever, played by Sam Spurl, the guy in a kilt, and it's very Fargo. And
Or is he a 500-year-old sin eater?
we don't know. It's
I mean, the
crazy.
haircut. I think he's a sin eater. I mean, that's another one. The eye patch, this haircut. Is this actually based on anything? It's so horrendous.
It's very crazy and weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some more stuff. Should I just keep going? Because we've had some crossover. This might not be a crossover. Is anyone else watching A Murder at the End of the World? What? This is ridiculous. I mean, okay.
That's on
You
Hulu,
guys should
right?
hang out.
I know. Yeah. This is us hanging out. It is FX on Hulu.
Yes.
Yep. And it is a limited series. It's a
Right.
mystery, and
Yep.
it stars Emma Kerwin, formerly of The Crown, is
Yeah.
where most
She's
people
very good
might
in it.
know her from. Yeah, she's playing a young, I guess, Gen Z age amateur detective.
Yeah, she played the first. We're not going to get into The Crown, although I'm watching it. She played the first Diane that we meet in The Crown.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've progressed to an older
Yes.
version of Diana, so it's played by someone else now.
Yep.
But Emma Kerwin is in this, and she, as her character, is investigating. It's like two timelines.
Yes.
So we're following her and her
Boyfriend at the time.
boyfriend.
Harris Dickinson, who I really do like, Bill.
Yeah, Bill. Oh, Bill.
I just kind of discovered him. He was in Triangle of Sadness. And there's also a TV show I started to watch. It's the Getty kidnapping. He plays the son. It's called Trust. And I think it's on.
Oh, is he the one that gets kidnapped?
Yes, I think it's
no.
Hulu as well. But
Ooh, okay.
he's very good in this.
He is so charming.
Yes.
He's really good. Yeah. Harris Dixon.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so the two main storyline timelines that we're following in the past, Emma Kerwin's character and
Her boyfriend, Bill.
her boyfriend Bill. What's her character's name? I've forgotten already.
Her Darby Hart.
Oh, right. Okay, so Darby and Bill are investigating a serial murderer.
It's really like the true crime phenomenon
Yes.
that's gone on, but taking it a step further. So,
and they're kind of like hackers. They have that in common. And
there's a whole world of true crime detectives that are really trying to solve some of these mysteries.
Yeah, old cold cases type of things.
And so there's a step further where you actually leave your laptop, leave your computer, leave your home, and you're out now actively pursuing, terrifyingly so, a murderer.
Yes.
So that's one of the timelines.
So that's how these two characters know each other. Now, in the present, what's going on is she and Bill and I think 8 other high-profile people have been invited to this retreat in Iceland.
It's like a summit by a billionaire.
Yeah.
But not a castle this time.
Not a castle.
Okay. Oh, the most remote, isolated.
Never. I'd be like, where is it? No.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's one of those things that, how you'd even get there in itself would be arduous. And then when it gets there, you're so isolated.
You're basically
and yet
trapped.
Then it's
Yeah.
5-star. Like the most amazing sort of, I would assume just spa treatments because it looks like the Arctic outside. I don't know how the hell you go outside.
There was a lot of going outside in what had to be below 0 temperatures in insignificant outerwear. Like not.
Oh, you're
going
to freeze your tits off. I was like, what is this?
There was one sequence where she's like touching this rock. She's like outside. I'm like, your hand would literally like freeze off. There's no way you could even.
I know. There was.
But still.
Wait, we should take it back a little bit because one of the things I want to bring up is who created this.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
It was Britt Marling.
Britt Marling, and she has a writing and producing partner. They switch off directing episodes, too. She's quite amazing and created another series.
Yeah, which I would say is one of those series, kind of like Stranger Things, that started to make stream, OA.
Yes, the OA.
And it was
or just OA.
The OA.
Oh, it was the OA? Oh, okay.
It was.
All right. Thank you, John.
I don't know if that's still available on Netflix, but that was one of those ones, like, it kind of got the buzz of where, if you didn't have Netflix, you need to get it to watch this series.
Yeah.
People were talking about it, you need to hear about it. So I'm happy to see she's back because she writes these projects.
She's a really interesting creator. Yeah.
She plays multiple, roles in it. So she's acting, writing, directing, I'm assuming producing on some level. Mm-hmm. So just a shout out to her. Every character is complicated and has multiple layers and backstories of why they are there. It's kind of a big chess piece manipulated by the big billionaire who's played by Clive Owen.
Right.
Like, you're not there by accident. You're not there just because he thought you were a talented filmmaker, writer, scientist. Like,
he's got an agenda.
He's got an agenda. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what sort of slowly rolls out for us because it's like, what is the agenda?
Yeah.
Because by the time the characters of Darby and Bill are at this retreat, they've broken up.
Yes.
So she's very surprised to see him there. Why did they break up, we think? And she is there because she wrote a book about when they hunted that serial killer.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it is very well done, beautifully shot. I mean, the location is so, like I said, isolated, cold.
Yeah. I mean, it's stunning, but also very unappealing in terms of like, I don't want to go there.
I'm hoping most of it was on like a huge, big green screen.
Oh, yeah. I hope so. I mean, they did shoot in Iceland, I think, but that's where it's supposed to be. But hopefully a lot of it was fakey fake snow.
A murder at the end of the world. Kind of does tell you a lot in the title, but
I will say it's called A Murder at the End of the World.
Don't give too much away.
But that's not exactly accurate.
Let's put it this way. If you were not digging the retreat and you're like, that's it, I'm out of here. Good luck. You're not walking out of there. Yeah. There's no Uber. There's no way out. So that was definitely a manipulation by the character Andy, who is this big,
He's
billionaire,
tech
billionaire. He's manipulated you to somewhere you basically can't live. So does everybody get out alive? Like, that's what we got to find out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was really good. It is 7 episodes and a limited series, so that'll be it. It's a great story.
Yeah, I think once you start it, you will make time because you'll be hard pressed not to want to just finish it.
Yeah, I watched it with Eric and I kept pushing to watch the next episode. I was like, I think we have time to watch another episode.
Oh, no,
He's like,
started,
oh my God.
It started. Let's just see what happens.
What? Okay. And then we had just the finale left.
Ooh.
And I was like, come on, can we? I was like, all right. I mean, he liked it a lot. He just wasn't as excited to get into it as me. What?
I am secretly watching this.
Uh-oh.
I've got like 2 episodes left. My husband has no clue. Twice he said, why is that on our continued watching? I want to watch it. I go, I don't know. I mean, like, then there's been like promos that have played and he's like, that looks good. I'm like, does it?
I don't know.
I am so trying to I might go home this afternoon and finish it because honestly, I'm dying to finish it. But it's like been the holidays, so he's around too much.
I know.
I mean, like, get out of my viewing space.
We've talked about this before, that you almost want to like hide and go incognito mode on some of the stuff you're watching if you share it with your spouse or significant other or whatever. Because I can't remember what it was, but I did the same thing where I watched it and then I had to like admit that I had started it or finished it, but I wanted him to watch it, so I was like, yeah.
You didn't watch it again, did you?
What was that series? I can't remember. Yeah, I did.
I'm not doing that. No.
I rewatched the first episode of whatever it was with him without saying that I had already seen it.
See, my husband's so nice. He asked me recently if something's new on Netflix. He's like, do you have any desire to watch that? I'm like, no, you can watch that with Ethan. I do not do the same thing.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I literally have snuck watched this, and it's really bad.
Yeah, sneak watching is a thing for sure.
But then doubled down and lied that I basically...
Yeah, at least
that doesn't look that interesting to me. I don't know.
I was willing to just rewatch the whole thing.
Okay, well, there
whatever.
you go.
I cannot remember what the heck it was. I'll have to look it up. But,
okay.
So yes. So that is A Murder at the End of the World, and it is on FX, Hulu, however you want to.
Right.
So we actually, I think, recorded it off of FX as it was airing, and then watched the final one on Hulu. I don't know why we did it that way, but it's all available on Hulu.
Great.
Okay, so whoopsie, we've had a lot of crossovers. Yeah. What about, I'm going to throw out one more, Gilded Age, season 2.
Of course.
Oh my God, what is happening?
I talked about it in the past.
Is there anything I watched that you didn't watch? Oh wait, I have one more after this. Okay, sorry. We can do Gilded Age, but then I do have one more that I don't think you're watching. Okay, so Gilded Age.
John, you're watching Gilded Age as well, right?
Yes. Now, Katherine, would you like to be honest?
I think, John, you can share the very fun Gilded Age story.
So Katherine, Eric, and I were watching Gilded Age. And then Katherine and Eric decided they wanted to stop watching after like 3 episodes, maybe.
It was
2?
1 episode
of this season.
I think it was 2.
No, it was definitely only
sure.
1 because Eric was like, "No, thanks." Yeah.
Oh, it was just Eric. Way to place the blame.
All right, I also was not that super into it, but go ahead.
So then I was like, I'm going to keep watching it. So I watched it and I let you know a couple weeks later. I was like, oh man, you're missing out. So much has happened.
You didn't frame it. Wait.
Go ahead.
You didn't say that I was missing out. When you admitted that you had continued, not that you're not allowed to continue, of course, you were like, I just want to let you know, I did continue watching Gilded Age. And a lot happens. You didn't say it was good. You just said a lot. And I was so intrigued by a lot happened that I was like, oh my God, now I think I need to watch it. So I went back and watched it by myself.
I definitely talked about Gilded Age the first season. I'm like, the opulence, the costumes, the sets. I'm like, give them their flowers. I'm like, they are amazing, this production company. And it airs on HBO Max.
Yep.
You know, and so, from the get-go, first of all, Christine Baranski. Right out of the gate, she had me. Now, some of the storylines are a little like, I am tempted to fast forward through, or like, let's get through this. But the whole cast is led by Carrie Coons, who is Mrs. Russell, who is hungry to get in New York society, which already, although at its early stages of, development, New York had an old school society, the Astors and all these people.
Yeah, the old school money.
The operas and all these, how you break into these things. And so it's Carrie Coon's character sort of opposite initially Christina Baranski. And then it expands to, now that Mrs. Russell has been able to get herself a foothold into society, it's like, what happens?
Well, there's also a very upstairs, downstairs quality. I mean, it's the same creator as Downton Abbey. It's just a different era. So it has that same thing where we're also following a lot of the staff and what they're up to.
Right. Yeah. So it is, I think it's so well done. It is coming back for season 3.
Okay.
I mean, it also is very soap opera-y. I mean,
John was right. A lot happened this season.
Yes.
Katherine, keep the negativity out.
What?
Well, because based on a soap opera, it's like only like can you get married like in one episode and basically die the next, like finding a piece of joy and ripped out of you the next one.
First of all, there was like 2 months at least between those 2 events. Now,
it was
maybe it was only 2 episodes.
It was hard to track how long it was.
Cynthia Nixon's character, oh God.
But now she
Ada.
always gets to look back with joy.
Oh Lord!
Oops, spoiler if we, didn't explicitly say what happened.
But if you like Downton Abbey, if you like Upstairs, Downstairs, if you like British, large scope, this is placed in the Americas, New York. It's a different version of it, but it's so well done. It's meticulous. I'm like, where do they film this? I mean, with the horses and the drawn carriages in Central Park. And I mean, this is incredible what they pull off. So
it's also interesting because I find that I don't love the fashion of the era as much.
Oh, it looks so restrictive.
Well, that, and also I don't know how, I'm assuming extremely accurate. That's kind of what they are known for, this, Downton Abbey and then Gilded Age. But even the fabrics are kind of weird to my eye.
It's very upholstery. In the sense of it's placing, in 1882, New York around, okay? So it's a rigid social scene and it's, like I said, society. And then really the costumes are reflective of that. They're very high collar, very long hair. There's the bustle for women.
Yeah, the bustle.
So we have not yet transitioned to the jazz era or women are not wearing pants. That's for damn sure.
No, not even remotely.
You are dressing for dinner. I mean, they look like royalty when they have their big gala evenings. Yeah. I mean, it's like they're wearing crowns. I mean, it's kind of crazy. So, but it is restrictive. And women, and it's one of the overall narratives of the restriction of women rights, their place.
Sure.
It's still very much like who you're married to, who you're going to marry, that will place you in society. And God forbid you become, I can't give anything away, but if you lose your money,
yeah, you're in real trouble.
Christine Baranski is just grand dame, tears up the scene. She came in one scene, walked down an aisle, I don't want to give too much away, gave a look and sat down. And you understood it all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did not utter a word.
Well, she was assisted by, there was a lot of setup for, we knew what was coming. There was a lot of,
Still.
Okay.
The air of acceptance. And then resigning herself. Yes. And then just enjoying herself. She's so brilliant. So I recommend, I've loved it. And then now I also love to hear it's coming back for season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I somewhat begrudgingly went and watched season 2. But
begrudgingly, because I'll say there was a very soap opera moment where the downstairs moved to the upstairs in the sense of moving up a rung in the social ladder. And that caused Mrs. Russell some real
she was not happy about that.
Miss Turner.
I think she did very well with it. But yes, that was one of the big things that I was like, ooh, Katherine, you don't even realize.
You didn't even know.
He's my prince! It was so good. Yeah. So, Mrs. Turner, that character was very well done.
That was a fun storyline.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so last from me. I know. What?
Oh my gosh, you have watched a lot. Okay.
Well, it's been a while,
yes.
but all of these are fresh.
Right.
Okay, last for me, but also involves John, is season 3 of Slow Horses.
I have not watched that.
I love Slow Horses. It is a fantastic British series. It stars Gary Oldman. We've talked about it before because obviously this is season 3, so I probably talked about season 1 and season 2. But it is a spy thriller about a group of spies who are considered not good. They've gotten in trouble for one reason or another.
You have talked about this. Yes. Okay.
And they are in sort of the not main office in Slough House, and they are called Slow Horses. You're running a race, and these are the not good runners, the slow horses. So it's MI5 agents, but the not high quality.
Okay.
Or at least they've messed up in some kind of way.
They're not going to be sent out to save the queen.
No.
And also the name of the place is Slough House. So, similar to this.
Multiple
Got it.
reasons.
So Gary Oldman is back as this main character, Jackson Lamb, who is an unbelievable, amazing spy, but also the grossest person alive. He so needs a shower and a haircut and a new coat that is not greasy.
I don't know if I could handle that.
You maybe not, but the story is really good.
He's unkempt.
He's very unkempt.
Okay.
The second character that we're focused on is Jack Loudon. Now he is the opposite of the Gary Oldman character. He's very handsome, in my opinion, but he's a slow horse because he kind of screwed up during a big training mission,
and that's why he ended up there. Okay,
that is his real name in the show. It's River Cartwright.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Well, so it's Gary Oldman and Jack Loudon. So at least now I'm using real people's names and not the character names. But yeah, Jack Loudon, very handsome, and he is a very good spy, but very unlucky, and has ended up in the slow horses. And so this third season, we do have a lot of the core slow horse characters back, although no spoilers, but in season 2, we lost one of my favorites, which was very sad. So he is not back because he is dead. But we do have a lot of the returning characters other than that one. So we have Sasika Reeves is back as Katherine Standish, who is a fantastic character, very much like the office manager, uptight kind of. She's wonderful. She's back. We also have Christopher Chung, who is playing, I forget the character's name, but
Ho.
Oh, yeah, Ho. He's the tech guy, and he's such a jerk. It's really funny. He's great. We have Amy Fionn Edwards, who came in for season 2, and Kat F. Kerwin, who also came in for season 2. So they're both back. And I think I skipped Rosalind Eliezer. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but she's great. So we have all of those back. Oh, and Freddie Fox, who plays Spider Webb, who is just the biggest jerk of a character. So he's back. Also, Chris Riley, the actor who plays one of the enforcers, I guess, at MI5, like the big office. And Kristen Scott Thomas is back. And this character who's, I think he's now the Home Secretary, but he's a real jerk. He's played by Samuel West. He's back in this season. And then we have one new character played by Shupa Darisu, and he is got a whole
a new addition to the cast?
He's a new addition, and he's not a slow horse. He's doing something else. He's like, I mean, for lack of a better term, he's sort of like the bad guy, or the one that they're working against in this season. It's such a good show. It's right now, so season 3, it's available on Apple TV Plus. I super duper highly recommend. John, do you have any thoughts?
It's fantastic.
Okay, perfect. There you go. Okay.
Why don't one of you guys go first, since Katherine and I have been going back and forth, and then I'll wrap up with the 2 additional
great idea
movies.
I'll happily jump in.
Perfect.
I didn't 100% think I was going to throw this into the mix, but after you guys rocked the Gilded Age so hard, I had to at least throw in a reference to the now canceled series, maybe not, Warrior, set in the 1800s in San Francisco at the same time, but it's 100% the opposite side of that story. It's like fighting and the underground Chinese crime world and stuff like that. But same time period, late 1800s. Exactly.
Okay.
They could visit each other, but John and I were just finishing that series. And
We're working on the 3rd season. It's incredibly good.
Yeah.
Really?
Warrior, where can you watch it?
It's all on Max.
Okay.
And I think it originally started as a Cinemax series and then got canceled and then got picked back up for their streaming. So definitely check that out. So I've got a couple other entire series that I'm dropping, like a couple entire series that I have not mentioned before or had been mentioned by somebody else. I'm like, I do. That's on my list. And I'm going to go for the twofer at the start, which is 2 different Star Trek series, Star Trek Lower Decks, which is animated, and Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which I didn't know were going to do some crossover episodes, but they are set concurrently and kind of they're not telling the same stories, but they're telling 2 different kinds of Star Trek stories. Usually Star Trek, the series all of them, are like fix a problem an episode. They're almost never multi-episode arcs and problems that you got to figure out. It's like, go discover a problem or a planet that's about to blow up, and then don't let it blow up. Problem solved. Next episode. So, interestingly, although kind of similar single, problem episodes, the fact that they aren't telling the main stories that we got from all these other series. Like, there's an issue between this planet and that planet. And some people got to go down there and figure stuff out, and we'll get back to them later. And then you deal with, like, the main characters. Both of these series are dealing with, like, Strange New Worlds or the Lower Decks. Not the main character storylines that you usually get. So the Lower Decks is, like, a whole backstory behind not real episodes all the time, but, like, all the stuff that was happening as the doors closed or you went into the captain's chair, the main part of the ship. The rest of the ship is still operating and going. So this follows
they're doing stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this follows a bunch of characters that are doing not even the red shirt guys that are going on away missions, like the guys that have to stay and fix the ship that just got broken. That you're on an away mission. We're doing the 12-hour repair on the warp engines.
Oh, geez. Mm-hmm.
So really interesting to watch that, although Lower Decks is animated. And there is an original animated series that I've never watched. So there's like, oh, okay, they went back and did an animated series because they get to tell weird stories and they don't have to pay for the special effects. They can just animate it. Oh, okay, I like this. Well, I watched all that, and it's maybe 3 seasons at this point, and they're short cartoon episodes. They're not like burning out 45-minute storylines. But the main character in that, I recognize his voice from The Boys. He's like the first guy that has a big issue where the fast guy runs through his girlfriend. And then that's his character's arc for the rest of the series is super bad. And I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I think I want to fight them, but they're very strong. That actor is doing the voice of one of the main characters in Lower Decks.
Jack Quaid.
Yes.
Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son.
Well, he's kind of got like cartoonish purple, blue hair. Fully purple hair in the crossover episode with Strange New Worlds, where they absorb in those character and storylines. So that actor who plays the voice in the animated show plays his actual character in the real Strange New World series with purple hair. It was great. And having watched the animated one, then getting this crossover episode, I already knew who that was, and that they kept the look and the style of the character and what he was going through. I was like, yes! And a couple of the other characters came through as well, but it was like, everybody else looked normal. He had cartoon purple hair, which you're not throwing into the real world. Oh, they did throw that into the real world.
That's funny.
That's great. And classically, not... I believe the previous review, if I can sum it down to a very, very short review from John and Catherine, the hair. You are absolutely correct.
No, it's fine.
Yes, I was very distracted by the captain's hair in Strange New
Everybody's
Worlds.
hair. Everybody's hair is so stylish. All the style,
true.
and
Yeah.
not just the one character that went from cartoon to real world purple, but everybody's got like the faded cuts, and it's very not as military as maybe it had been, where it was like pretty consistent. Now there's a lot of style going on with everybody's hair. So those 2 series, I've watched all of the episodes available, and I have one tiny little crossover, which is before I had started Strange New Worlds, having watched many of the other series, I ran into Ethan Peck, who's playing Spock in multiple series. So I ran into him like getting a sandwich, and I didn't totally...
Recently?
Yeah, like in the last 5 months. I didn't totally clock who it was. Then I'm like, okay, right. I think I know who that is. And as he left, I'm like, I just gotta go say, I'm a big fan. I've been watching all of Discovery. I literally just finished binging all 4 seasons and enjoyed everything that you've done in that. I had not watched an episode of Strange New Worlds yet, and he's like one of the main characters again. He's on that ship. So very, very fun. And if you don't know anything about what Strange New Worlds, the series is, it's a parallel series to the original Star Trek with the original ship, the Enterprise, as a secondary ship to the main ship that they were on in Strange New Worlds. But it's the captain from the original first pilot, Captain Pike. And so it's kind of like following what his career was after that. And we do end up visiting Captain Pike in the original series, and it's very, very terrible for him.
Yeah.
And in a couple different ways, he's already exposed to that information, the way the entire audience who is aware of that and knows that. So he's not like got this giant divot in his future that we're all like, yeah, keep smiling, make plans, it's not going to work out. No, he actually has had some way to find that out. So it's kind of interesting to watch that character know what you know as the audience, which usually you don't get. You don't get to like have an in with one character that no one else in the show gets, because of all the previous series. So I'm really enjoying all of that crossover and all that sci-fi stuff and animated stuff as well. All right, that's all the Star Trek that I've got for you.
Wait, can I just clarify just for myself? So Ethan Peck is playing like a young version of Spock in Strange New Worlds, right?
And they have reset the Star Trek universe a couple times, so there have been more than one Spocks.
Oh,
like
okay.
The original Leonard Nimoy, and then in the movie series where they actually did crossover with Leonard Nimoy, what was his name from Heroes? Do you have it, John?
Zachary Quinto.
Thank you. Is another Spock, and now we've got this Spock in this universe.
All right, cool.
All right. And more science fiction, kind of space travel, but not exactly. I am a big fan of Doctor Who, and I've been watching the series, and usually hold off until an entire season drops, because they do the episodic drop where it takes quite a long time for all of them to come out. And I'll wait for all of them so I can binge. And by the time I've waited long enough for the whole season to binge, I kind of like enough into it. I'm like, I really want to see how they marry all of the storylines that I'm trying to remember. Let me just rewatch the whole series. It's only going to take 2 months.
Rewatch the whole series?
It's the BBC. They're like 12 episode, 10 episode seasons. They're
Yikes.
It's not like
That's
big
still so
juggernaut.
much.
Okay.
It is a lot. But it does pay off when they reference back and they pull characters back and they bring back storylines that you'd totally forgotten, or bad guys that you forgot. Didn't we solve that? Why are you bringing them back?
They're back.
So the upshot of that is, having rewatched in the last 6 months the entire 13 seasons, now finishing with the current most recent 13th season, Disney Plus dropped 4 different Christmas specials. Usually they do one Christmas special. It's like an hour and a half long, kind of a mini movie. It's pretty much set around Christmas. But at the end of the last season, there was a regeneration that we were not expecting, and a recurrence of a doctor's face we were not expecting. And so then they kind of like, usually at the end of a season, if you're going to do a regeneration, what you're really doing, which is what they did in the original series, is we cannot afford that actor. We're recasting that actor.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore so much, but it is like you regenerate and you're getting a different actor as the doctor, and a different kind of storytelling and a different position for that character because they've matured some through that other doctor. Well, getting an old doctor's face back, what's going to happen? Well, they are playing that out in these 4-hour-plus long specials, which is pretty fun. And we're going to get another new doctor by the end of those 4 episodes that is going to go into another new season of all Doctor Who, episodes. And the new doctor...
Yeah, who is it?
Ncuti Gatwa.
Oh, right. I love him.
Yeah.
He was in Sex Education, the English
there you
comedy
go.
series. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, so not a whole lot of time with the new doctor yet, and I'm excited to see how they grow that character, because from the previous series, the last doctor, before that's, regeneration, bi-generation, I think is what they said in the series. The previous doctor, Jodie Whittaker, gave enough to that character that you could tell the frantic energy that she brought to it. She just was not dealing with any of the emotional stuff. She was like checking it and putting it away and not handling it, and just on the adventure side of stuff. She was really playing up this, I can see there's an end. And even though I'm fighting against it and I'm playing all the cards I can against it and trying to, write all these things that are not actually lining up with what I know about myself, and as I learn more about myself, I can see I've only got adventure. I better keep having fun, because if I start dealing with the serious stuff, it's going to get really serious. And so what ends up happening is enough information gets revealed through season 13 that when the regeneration happens, as an audience, you're like, yeah, there's some old stuff that you are unresolved on, that you are fighting against, and that's maybe why this is coming up. So it's interesting to see how that plays out and why it plays out, and that they let that play out. In a time travel series, they can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where series 14 goes.
Wow.
All right. Wow.
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
All right. John.
Yeah.
Oh, what, me? Sure. So I saw in the theater, which you can still see in some theaters, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Oh.
Oh.
I don't know, it's really fun. I don't know what people were expecting. It's a follow-up. It's not the first one. You're not introduced to the whole world. So now we're in the world. And look, Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Solid.
It's great.
Yeah.
So, look, it's really fun. You should go see it. There you go.
Wow. All right.
I can do 2 very quick movie kind of recaps like that too. I saw Maestro.
Oh.
The Bradley Cooper. Basically, it is the Leonard Bernstein biopic that God love Bradley Cooper. He has decided his career is sort of diving in very deep on a topic and directing, writing, acting, a tour de force.
Right.
So this starts in 1943 when Bernstein, the composer and conductor, gets his big break with the New York Philharmonic in 1943. And it was an interesting choice because probably this generation knows very little about Leonard Bernstein. The music is played throughout. Mahler is also played because I guess he was very fascinated by Mahler. And in our childhood, there was a series that he basically sort of explained and taught about classical music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
don't
remember
this
watching
at
it.
all.
And West Side Story probably is some of the musical moments in that he composed. You'd recognize that. So you could see where it could have been about like his career. But Bradley decided, playing the character, the relationship through line.
Oh.
Because he lived a very duo life. He basically was, I mean, I guess you'd say bi, because he was married and had children, but he also had relationships with men.
Oh, does Carey Mulligan play his wife in this?
And this is, I was going to say, Carey Mulligan, who plays his wife. She comes into his life at a moment where he has already found some fame and recognition. But, you know, it's interesting, in that era, could you live your full existence as a gay man? Probably not. And the character Felicia, was an actress and had her own life. And I might not by any means saying she was like what the term beard or front for him. Not all. They were true partners. She knew exactly who he was when she married him. And sort of that relationship, how they navigate it. Those two will probably be nominated for everything. Okay. I will say, as a director, he makes some very, I don't want to say challenging, but some of his choices leave you definitely as a viewer wanting more. He puts you as a fly on the wall, or you just outside the scene, or you very pulled back from it. He uses black and white and color. And there's just times that you're like, because you're not laying us in, I don't feel like you're going deep enough. Like you're not showing us the faces in the scene, or you're so pulled back in this argument, I can't see the emotion.
Oh, interesting.
They are fantastic. As actors, and that's the other thing. You're like, show it to me. Do a close up.
Yeah.
And he just won't give it to you. So
stylistically,
yes.
Yeah.
But the acting, Matt Bomer plays a supporting character. My Hawk actually plays sort of a substantial role in it. I will say one of the main characters, the fucking cigarettes. I swear to God, this is why smell-o-vision should not be invented. The smell, I mean, the movie ended and I'm like, I mean, do I smell like smoke? I mean, non-stop smoking.
God, it's crazy to think that that's really accurate.
To the point, I mean, there's so many moments like, wait, they're having a cigarette in that scene too. She's holding a cigarette. He has a cigarette. I mean, insane. What they must have smelled like. Oh my God. I don't know how these actors got through constant cigarette. I mean, smoking, I'm not kidding you, through like the entire movie. So it's well worth watching. Kudos to Bradley, because what he does is he just dives in, devotes years of his life. There is one scene that is his, I'm going to say, throwing down the baton for an Oscar nomination as an actor.
Okay.
He most likely will get it. And it made you go, wow, Leonard Bernstein, although kind of before our time, has been peppered throughout our lives in different ways, and it probably has influenced all the modern composers in different ways.
Oh, yeah.
So very fascinating. And the other thing was a delight, Wonka.
Oh, Wonka.
I saw that in the theaters. Those of you who've listened to our podcast in the past, I usually have a problem using my AMC studs and going on Tuesdays. But...
Wait, was this a success?
Wait, did you say AMC studs or stubs?
Oh, stubs. Sometimes it's a real dud, too. So, I mean, like, it's AMC stubs, like a ticket stub.
Yeah.
So, yes, it worked out.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes, but it only worked out because the last time it didn't work out and I had free tickets.
Oh.
So we went, actually, we had the movie time right, the right movie theater, everything. Worked out perfectly. And of course, I walked in with my big bag with like 12 drinks in there, clinking away, but, you know, I didn't get caught. So, I mean, it is the homage to what is our beloved Gene Wilder, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Because it's a prequel, right?
It's a prequel, but, you know, the thing is, when Tim Burton did his version with Johnny Depp, there was backstory that alluded to, like, why Wonka became Wonka. And it was very plastic and very Tim Burton, you know? Mm-hmm. And Gene Wilder, the original Willy Wonka, has spoken about that he didn't like what was being done, and he actually didn't see it. I would think he would like this. There's one spoiler, but it's been out. I'm not spoiling it. It is a musical.
Oh, I was going to ask, because it is a musical, and they are downplaying that. Even though, I think, Ed, you and I were talking about it, that the original has tons of songs.
Very much like that.
Well, do you have a sweet tooth?
Yes. And it opens with Timothée Chalamet, who is the lead in it. He plays Wonka. Like I said, you could see him eventually becoming Gene Wilder. He opens with the song, And, a hat full of dreams. That's all he's really got to make his dreams come true. There is a magical element to it. Paul King, who is the director of the Paddington movies.
You could feel the relationship.
Yes.
With them,
Love Paddington movies. So if you like the Paddington movies, this is a good bet for you.
And that's kind of the Hugh Grant connection there, too.
Okay. And one of my, who I aspire to be, the producer, David Heyman. He was the producer of it. Hey, man, David Heyman.
These things, these relationships to these other movies do take away from the relationship to the original Willy Wonka, I feel.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes. This had a surrealist element to it, which is also the original source material, Roald Dahl, is more surreal.
But a slightly different flavor than the original movie, I'm saying.
Absolutely. Because now what we're capable of doing is far different. And I will say, I did not feel like it was leaning on so much CGI or special effects. It was all there, but there were elements of it because I think of the Paddington experience. They were able to ride a line that was pretty good.
Well, poor Keegan-Michael Key really gained all that weight.
Oh, jeez, my lord.
Just kidding.
So Wonka rolls into town, and it's a town that, loves their chocolate. Other chocolatiers are not going to welcome him so nicely.
Interesting.
My son never deals well with like bad luck, anxiety, one bad thing happening to a character after another. This was anxiety inducing. You're like, can he get a break?
Well, yeah, you just got to not even think about that for the entire movie then.
No. My husband, Mark, loved it. I did a little dance out of the movie theater singing one of the songs. And I would say it's just, like I said, it is actually the roadmap to where you could eventually go with where Willy Wonka and the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory ends up for us.
Oh, good.
So I felt like, okay, great. Timothée Chalamet is great in it. He sings, he dances, and he does it in a way that's very believable. I don't think he's going to have an album released next year. You know what I'm saying? He sings as though he's like Gene Wilder. It's like in the character. Right. It is his voice. They definitely do a lot of tricks to it. It's great. And the supporting cast is pretty amazing as well. Downton Abbey, there's a great character played by, with his great voice, Jim Cotta. And Olivia Colman is crazy. She goes very broad.
Ooh,
Rowan Atkinson,
Mr. Bean.
Yes, he's going to steal any scene he's in. And then, yes, you really have to give a huge shout out to Hugh Grant because he plays the one really only Oompa Loompa we deal with. And he is
I said
jerk.
good day.
What? Sorry,
I said
what?
good day.
I said good day. He is bewildered. He's annoyed. It's an overall annoyed.
Well, I wonder if that was just his experience because he has talked in interviews about he did not enjoy the process. He was in like a motion capture situation suit and was like, this is terrible.
This was, like I said, they do little Easter eggs throughout the original source material. So his costuming, his hair, and his face is the closest to what we originally saw in Oompa Loompa. And there's even an element where they all end up having to wash clothes, which I was like, that is your favorite. Cheer up, Charlie.
Oh my God.
His mom was
never watch that song. It was so sad. Oh my God.
Tom Davis, who plays really Olivia Colman's counter cohort, is hilarious. So I went in with, for some reason, low expectations. What, John?
I wish I could do that rhyme that sets him up. Show a little thigh.
Oh, my God. And the close-up on his hideous teeth. Oh, good. Broad characters, big characters, some have English accents, some do not. There's just a bit of a leap. But like I said, it's hyper surrealism in some way, which that is Roald Dahl, the original source material. That is what he was known for as a surrealist. And I think you get some of the magical element because actually Timothée Chalamet's character of Willy Wonka is also a magician. So he literally pulls things out of his hat. So you have to suspend belief pretty much right away. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, highly recommend it. If you're thinking it's anything like the Tim Burton one, it is not at all.
Yeah, that was its own thing.
Absolutely. So there you go. And I saw that in the theaters.
Oh, wow. All right. Okay. Wow. We covered a lot. Okay. So let's do a little recap. I and you watched Saltburn, which we both recommend, but, be careful who you watch it with.
Take it with a dose of salt, a grain of salt.
A grain of salt, yeah.
On Prime Video.
On Prime Video. Thank you, John. Okay, also season 3 of Slow Horses, which John and I are watching with my husband, Eric. Love Slow Horses. So season 3, and that's all available on Apple TV+. And then Fargo season 5, which each one is its own thing, so you should watch all of them. But season 5 right now is airing currently on FX/Hulu. Also, Gilded Age, which is HBO/HBO Max, which all of the episodes are currently available.
And now it's just Max. We got to start saying just Max. It's available on Max.
But that's the app, because we actually did record it on HBO so that we could, for some reason, we still like doing it that way.
They still have their flagship brands underneath Max, so you can go to the HBO channel within the Max app.
And some things are only on Max and not on HBO. So you're right, you have to specify, but in this case, it is both on HBO and available through Max.
Okay.
Which is hard to just call it Max, so I need to work on that. You're right. Okay, and also I watched, and I think this was my only solo thing, was A Murder at the End of the World.
Was I not here? Yes.
Oh.
No, I watched it too.
Oh, shoot. I forgot already.
Okay.
So never mind. Yes, Murder at the End of the World, FX, and that's on Hulu. So I think that's it. Did I cover everything that I brought up?
Yes, you did.
Okay. All right. Liz.
Okay, we can jump to me. I solo experienced Maestro, which is available on Netflix, Bradley Cooper's Tour de Force, and Wonka in the movie theaters.
Nice.
And then I reviewed Warrior, which is on Max, that John and I both watched. And I also brought 2 different Star Trek series, Star Trek Lower Decks, which is animated, and Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is on Paramount Plus. And I also watched all of Doctor Who. I mean, the current series, not the original old 70s series. So 13 seasons on HBO Max or Max, and then the current special 4 episodes that are brand new on Disney Plus.
And I saw in the theater Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
And it sounded like you also saw Wonka.
I saw, 80% of all the other things.
I know, that's true. But you didn't officially say that you saw Wonka, but you were chiming in, so I figured it out.
Yeah. Do you know what having a sweet tooth is about?
No.
Wait, you saw Wonka?
That's why I said those things, because I saw the movie and I knew them.
John, why are you so secretive? I did not totally get that. And I was like, I should have got it, because if you have watched our podcast, John does not watch trailers. So there's no other way he would have known.
That's true.
Oh, damn it.
But see, it was not clear that you saw it.
Well, not clear to who.
Us too.
Yeah,
So-
people not paying attention,
Apparently.
as has been established, Katherine.
Okay.
Well, whatever. Okay, so that's it for this episode of What We're Watching. Thank you for watching and or listening. You can find us on social media at Podcast Watching, and that's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, also X. And you can watch all of the episodes on our YouTube channel, which is the Knack Entertainment YouTube channel. Okay, I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us for What We're Watching.